Hi there, Erin Lee here of heavenlymessenger.com, and welcome to tonight's Connection with Intention. I'm so incredibly grateful that you've joined me this evening. It's always a pleasure for me to be able to connect with you in this way, and I'm grateful for the time that you've taken out of your day to be here, especially as one, we haven't connected this way in so long, and two, the notice was really last minute. So thank you again for joining me. Again, I'm Erin Lee of heavenlymessenger.com, and I've got oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about, you guys. So, first and foremost, before I forget, because I always forget to put up the banner, hellos are welcome. Please comment, say hi, let me know where you are. But hold on to your questions. We will definitely get to readings this evening, but there's lots to connect and to share about. So, first and foremost, I'm really, really excited because earlier this month I was approached by newsforthesoul.com to create a monthly broadcast. So, that will be starting next Tuesday. I'm going to just pop the link in the comments. I'll be sure to post more about it as we come closer. So, it's going to be on the second Tuesday of every month. So, this month, that's September the 10th. And it will be live at 2 p.m. Pacific, which is 5 p.m. Eastern. The first show is just going to be me being interviewed, kind of allowing people to get to know me and understand me and to kind of lay the groundwork for what the upcoming shows are going to be like. But the thing that I am most excited about is there will be a call-in option where I can have you guys, instead of typing in your questions, you can call me on the phone and we can talk and we can do a quick mini reading live where you can hear my voice, I can hear your voice, and we can put it out there. So I'm super excited about that. And it's broadcast around the world, obviously, because it's online. So that's really exciting too. So I wanted to let you know about that. And this, I'll just pop this in the chats and the comments as well. This is where you can find my profile, and eventually there will be more information, including links to where you can listen to the show again later. I know 2:00 in the afternoon for my peeps on the West Coast is not ideal during the week, but we may figure out something where I can have recordings of your questions or different things. We'll figure it out. I'm going to make sure that I connect with you all. So before I go into the rest of it, let's just do a quick hello, because I see that the comments have been coming in hot and heavy. Speaking of hot and heavy, before we get too much further, yes, I am wearing clothes. You just can't see it. I promise I'm not naked. It's not that kind of show. All right, so first up, we have Margaret. Hello, it's so good to see you. Thanks for popping on this evening. Tamra, it's so good to see you too. And Jessica, aloha. Carmen, I'm so grateful you're here. Thank you. And oops, that's me commenting. And Teresa, it has been a while. I'm so glad you're on this evening. And congratulations from Margaret and Teresa and Tam and Trish. Thank you. Let me see. And Trish has left a really lovely comment. She said, "You have come a long way from when we first met." And Trish and I met way back. This would have been like 2009, and we were doing a mediumship workshop. I see that you've got a question coming up, Trish. If you want to hold on to it, I would love to connect with that and to give you an answer. We'll do that in a little bit. So just hold on and send it to me again. Let me see. And we have Jocelyn, thank you. It's wonderful to see you. Everybody loves my jokes. That's awesome. Hi, Leanne. It's great to see you. And Sarah and Nicholas, thank you all so much for joining me. It's such a pleasure to connect with you all. So as I said, it's been such a long time since we've connected with each other. The last several months, I know for me personally, have been all over the place with like family stuff and health stuff, and it's just been crazy. But even if that hasn't been the case for you, holy smokes, has the energy been intense. And that's always true in the month of August. August has this really interesting energy. We've got lots that's happening on a universal level. We've got meteor showers, and recently we've been having a lot of like northern light activity and solar flares. There's been so much that's been going on. So raise your hand if, like me, life has been feeling a little crazy, or you haven't had energy, or you haven't had motivation, or you've wanted to do things, but there's just no get up and go to do it. Anybody else? It's okay if it's just me, but I know that I'm not alone. So, one of the things that often happens as we start to move into September is we have this kind of feeling of resetting. And I know that I certainly experienced this when I was going to school, both like elementary and high school and into university as well. And even though I am far outside of my university days and I don't have children that I'm putting into school, still the rhythm and the routine of September as being that time when we're getting back into the routine and getting back into things happening, it seems to be universal for everyone. And again, raise your hand if you're like me and you're also a recovering perfectionist. And I say recovering because it's something that you have to work hard to not do anymore and to just kind of recognize sometimes we can't do everything. Well, recently this meme, I'll share it with you here. Recently this meme, and then you can't see it. Hold on just a second. Let me just get rid of that pesky banner for a second. Don't ask your questions yet, though. This meme came up and it really, really spoke to me. You can do anything, but not everything. And so as we start to move back into the quote unquote regular routine of school, of work, of life, where we're not, on holidays and things are a little more predictable, remember that just because you can do everything doesn't mean, just because you can do anything doesn't mean that you can do everything. And sometimes we have to let go of that need to be perfect or to have things done exactly so in order to be able to get enough of everything else done. And it really can go against the grain when it comes to how we put ourselves forward. If something's worth doing, it's worth doing right, is something that many of us would have grown up with hearing all the time. When in actuality, if something's worth doing, it's worth doing to the capacity that you're able to do it. And I think that's really important in moving back into life being full. Maybe you have kids, maybe you have a job, maybe you have a home, maybe you have friends and family and connections and work and education. There are so many things that we're getting back into, and it's okay not to do everything to the full out capacity and maximum. I noticed this. Part of the reason that this conversation came up was I received a message from a really good friend of mine earlier, and she sent me this beautiful altar that she had created for the new moon, because of course we're just still in like the cusp end of new moon energy. It's a wonderful time for setting intentions, for doing work around manifestation and creation. And it's working with the moon is something that's been important for me for a long time. And the last several months, things have been really busy and I haven't been doing it. I've been falling out of it. And initially when I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's so exciting. I'm so glad you did that. And then immediately there was Erin, why didn't you do your altar? Why didn't you take the time to do it? And I think that it's also a really good reminder that sometimes we've got lots that's going on and we need to make sure that we're taking care of other things so we don't have to get everything done. At the same time, there's nothing to say that you can't take 5 minutes or 10 minutes to do something that's still significant and meaningful, and it will still have as much power. So, for example, I'm 99% positive that the new moon was on Monday, and today is Tuesday, so we're a day out of it. So the energy is still there and still present. But what if I don't get around to setting new moon intentions until Thursday? I'm well outside of the window. Is it still going to work? Absolutely, it will, because the energy is still there and present. Your energy and intention is still there and present. So, as powerful as it can be to do things at certain times, it's equally powerful to do it when you have the time, the energy, the motivation, and the intention to carry through. So give yourself a bit of a break and offer yourself some compassion and some leeway and do what's best and right for you. Awesome. So I want to just do, oh my goodness, we've had lots of comments come in. I want to say hello to everyone. Let me see, where were we? Hello to Loving Energy Recharge. It's so good to see you. Teresa says, I'm so glad you mentioned the wardrobe thing. I was going to ask. Yes, I am definitely clothed. You just can't see it all. And thank you, Heather. It's great to see you. And blessings back to you, Nicholas. I'm so glad you joined us this evening. Margaret says, yes, it's been intense. Oh, and Tamara says, Mercury retrograde was brutal. Absolutely. My cell phone is on the fritz. And Tamara says, me. And Trish says, so true. And hello to Andrea and to JC and Gwen. It's so good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And Steve, hello, hugs. And Tanis, hi. And Debbie and Divya, it's so good to see you. And I see Debbie saying so true. Absolutely. There's so much of this that hopefully resonates with many of you. All right, I do want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to receive a message and to receive a bit of a reading this evening. So we will go to questions in a minute. I want to do the Choose Your Adventure crystal reading first. So I'm just going to put my photo up here. We have 3 different crystals. On the left, we have obsidian, and it's the spheres that we're looking at. On the left, we have obsidian. In the middle, we have rose quartz. And on the end, we have clear quartz. So if you have a question or several questions, take a moment and breathe with me. And while you're breathing, think about your question or questions. If you have more than one, you'll do this a couple of times. So think about one question and ask, which crystal represents the message that I most need to hear this evening about this question? And so different ways to formulate your questions. And this is one that I really like. What do I need to know about X situation or Y relationship? What is it that I need to know? And that leaves it open-ended enough that you can get a really awesome answer. I was going to pull all from one deck this evening. So we're going to work with the mermaids and dolphins. And I'm just going to talk about them as we pull them out. So choose your crystal. This one is for obsidian and for rose quartz and clear quartz. All right. So I'm going to pull this down. So if you chose obsidian this evening, the card that's coming up for you is wait. Again, this is the Mermaids and Dolphins Oracle card deck. Don't rush into action right now. Bide your time for better results. When this card comes up, often there is information that you aren't aware of or some circumstances haven't fallen into place yet. But the overall message is now isn't the time. So this isn't the time to be taking lots of forward action. You don't want to be pushing things. You don't want to be forcing things. Now is a time to sit back, watch, to observe, and potentially to shift your energy and your attention. So sometimes the situation that we've been asking about, we've been thinking about it a lot, we've been worrying about it, we've maybe been talking about it with friends and family, it's been weighing on us. And if this card is coming up for you for the question that you've asked about, part of that message could be, hey, you need to distract yourself. You're putting way too much energy and attention into this. Allow things to kind of settle down, to smooth out. But now isn't the time to be pushing and forcing anything. Now is the time to relax, to see what's happening, to see what's going on. If you chose the rose quartz in the middle, interesting. The card that we have here is Simplify Your Life. Eliminate clutter from your home and work life to balance the flow of activities. I have to laugh because I've been looking around at my house that feels like it's just exploded. And I know that this one is definitely a message for me. This Simplify Your Life message actually has a really similar energy and intention to the wait message. It's saying, hey, there's lots of extra stuff that's going on in your home, in your life, in your work. So these could be physical things. These could be mental things. So maybe you're thinking about a lot of things, emotional things. This could be holding on to situations that aren't serving you and that it's time to let go of. Whatever it is for you that's holding lots of space and lots of energy in your head, in your heart, in your energy, it's time to look at ways to simplify, to make things easier. And you may be saying, hey, Erin, this thing that is causing me lots of stress and lots of challenge, it's not really something I can let go of. It's really significant and important. Then the message for you would be, look at other areas of your life that you can simplify. Where can you take off of your plate? Where can you maybe ask for help and support from others? Or where can you say, hey, this thing doesn't have priority right now, so I'm going to put it off to the side. I would encourage you, though, if you've got something really big that you're holding on to, that you take some time to make sure that you're nourishing and taking care of yourself too. That always has to be a priority, because if you're not adequately taking care of yourself, then you immediately reduce the amount of resources that you have to put into the other things that are also equally important. So make sure that you're taking some time to recharge yourself, whether that's going for a walk with a friend, going to the gym, taking time to eat properly, having a Netflix night, having extra sleep, whatever it is that you do to take care of you, make sure you're taking some of that time right now too. And then the last card, if you chose clear quartz, the message that we have here is set your sights higher. This card says, increase your standards and expect more for yourself. Don't settle. So one of the things that I always focus on when I do any sort of manifestation or affirmation work, which is when I'm trying to create new circumstances or new situations, new experiences in my life, at the end of the statements that I write out, I always say this or something better, because what I'm aware of as a possibility is like this. But what's actually a possibility, like what the universe can actually bring and can actually present, is unlimited. It is limitless, and it's impossible for our brains to understand what limitless actually is. And so if I say, well, I only want these that are in this sphere, this realm of knowledge that I have, then maybe I'm missing out on something that's over here that's entirely possible that I just don't even realize. So if you are doing any affirmation or manifestation work, or whatever question it is that you've asked about, make sure that you aren't settling in the situation. So perhaps part of the situation is looking at compromise. If you're being asked to compromise, compromise is important. And I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but I'm also going to make sure that you aren't giving everything away either. It's really important to take a step back, become aware of what it is that you want and need in the situation, and then go back into it. Sometimes it's also really important to be honest with yourself about what those things are, what it is that you truly want, what it is that you truly need. Because if you're not honest with yourself first, you can't be honest with anybody else in the situation and circumstances, and you can't actually get what you want in the long run. So make sure that you're taking that time to prioritize, to understand what it is that you want and need, and then make sure that you aren't settling for less than you need. Awesome. Wonderful. I'm just going to say hello to everybody else who's joined us, and we will also open it up to asking questions. So let me see. So we said hello to Divya and Christine. It's great to see you. Patricia, hello. Hello from Suzanne and Jessica and Esther. Esther's asking about in-person readings, and I'd love to answer that for you. At this point, I don't have a space set up to see people in person. That said, I'm in the process of looking to see if there are any local shows that I can participate in September and October that will fit in with my class schedule. So at this point, that is what I'm offering. Everything else is available on phone, Skype, and Zoom, as I don't have a space where I am right now to see people in person. Okay, let me see. So we've got questions coming in. Awesome. So first up, we have Heather. Hi, Heather. It's great to see you. Heather's asking, will I still have a relationship with my granddaughter? Okay, so when I tap in, I'm getting a flip-flop back and forth. And so the answer that I have is that yes, you will, but it feels like we've still got a long road before that's coming together, before that's happening. I'm feeling it almost feels like a tug of war or like a seesaw. Everything feels like it's kind of up in the air, and I feel a lot of push and pull back and forth. So I do see that there is a relationship, but it feels like there's some time and there's probably some energy, some work, I'm going to say some boundaries that are going to be coming up before this is a relationship that feels like it's kind of helpful and healthy. I don't see you losing your granddaughter, but it does feel like, as I said, we've got this push-pull that's coming up. And I'm also hearing rest as well. Let's go to the archangels and let's just ask, what does Heather need to know about her relationship with her granddaughter? And I'm going to put the intention that it's the granddaughter that you're thinking about, because I feel like I've got another granddaughter who's coming up as well. And that feels a little more straightforward. So let's just see. What does Heather need to know about her relationship with her granddaughter? Oh, interesting. The card that we have here is victory. This is Archangel Sandalphon. His message is, your prayers have been heard and answered, and have faith. So Archangel Sandalphon is the angel who lifts our prayers up to God, source, universe, whatever your belief system is. And he, if he's saying, hey, everything's coming together, it means that the message has been delivered. And God, source, universe, whatever your belief system is working behind the scenes to help smooth things over, to help bring things together. So keep doing what you're doing, whether it's prayer or there's counseling that you're doing, whatever it is that you're doing, keep doing it, because the outcome that you're wanting is coming to fruition. It's just going to take some time. Heather, it's always such a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. We have Heidi here. Hi, Heidi. Thanks for joining us. Heidi's asked, when will I be with the one meant for me and where will I meet him? Okay, so I'm just going to say that we're talking about a romantic relationship and partnership here. You're asking about when you'll be with him and where you will meet him. So initially I was given, I'm frustrated by that. I'm being given several different timelines and several different options. I have something that looks like it's 18 months out. I've got one that's 16 months out, and I've got one that's 6 to 8 months out. So I realize that we've got lots of 6s and 8s there. So I'm also going to throw in there that June and August in the next year can also be really significant times. What I'm also going to say is, just given the fact that I've been given lots of different timelines, is it feels like there will be lots of different opportunities for you to meet this person as well. So we're currently at the beginning of September. So we've got September, October, November, December, January. So February is 6 months. March, April is 8 months. Then June and August are coming up. And then I feel like we've got opportunity a little bit further out, which is kind of the beginning of 2026. So we do have lots of option. It does feel like this is the same person, just because the energy feels the same. I don't think that this is somebody who's coming back into your life, so it doesn't feel like you've already met this person. In terms of where you will meet them, I'm flip-flopping because I'm seeing something that looks kind of like a grocery store, which is either that it is at a grocery store or it's while you're out and about doing something that you usually do. So if you take your laundry to the laundromat, or if you're pumping gas, or whatever it is that you're doing, it's something that you're doing in your day-to-day life. And then they also flashed in that there could be a work opportunity and potential as well, which again would be something that you're doing out and about as part of your day-to-day life. So you don't need to go online, or you don't have to go out to singles events, though you certainly could do both of those things if you are drawn to do either of them. They can be really helpful because they just kind of put out the message to universe like, hey, I'm ready to meet my partner and I'm actively going out and I'm doing something about it. But I don't see that you're meeting your partner in that way. So as I said, we've got lots of opportunities that you're going to meet this person. It does feel like it's the same person. It doesn't feel like it's immediate. It feels like we're looking kind of at that initial 6 to 8 months. There might be somebody that you're connecting with in the fall, later this fall. I'm going to call this October, November. It's not that this is a bad person. It's just that it feels like there isn't enough there. I do want to encourage you to explore it. If this person does come up, if there's somebody who's interesting, go for it and do it. But I don't think that this is going to be something that lasts. So let's just take a look. What does Heidi need to know about her love life and relationship? Passion. we've got Archangel Haniel here, and her message is trust and follow your renewed passion in your love life and career. What this also says to me is that it's equally important for you to make sure that you're taking time to do things that you're passionate about, because that's one, it's going to lift your energy and your vibration. You're going to be happier. And while you're out and about doing those things, then your energy is vibing up here instead of, oh man, I have to go to the grocery store again. So you're vibing up here, and it's more likely that you're to connect with somebody who is like on the same level. Also, just to throw it out there, Archangel Haniel is so closely connected with women, with women's intuition, manifestation, the energy of the moon, and joy, as well as passion. So make sure that you're taking time to do full moon releases and new moon affirmation and manifestation. And again, like, remember what we talked about at the beginning, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to be there with the intention for it to come together and to work. So yes, passion, 6 to 8 months, plus also 16 to 18 months, and June and August are significant too. Heidi, it's always a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. And romance angels too. Awesome, JC. It's great to see you. JC is wondering about what do I need to know about Travis, and Travis is JC's son. Let's just take a look and see. So when I connect with him, and over the years, I've had the great fortune to connect with Travis several times. He is coming through the most grounded and the most peaceful that I have ever felt him. There's this feeling of calm. There's this feeling that everything is okay. Everything will be okay. And I have this really deep sense of peace that's coming up as well. And he shows me that he's seeing you. He's seeing you really often. So I'm not sure if you're going over and you're visiting the island where he is often, but he's showing me that he keeps seeing you. But yeah, I've never felt this amount of peace with him before. There's this sense of calm. He's showing me his kids as well, and he shows me that he's watching over his kids too. He's got a really close eye on them. And I'm feeling him sitting back with pride as he's watching them, and he's watching over them. He shows me that it's been a really big surprise for him to see them and to see how well they're doing. And there is just so much love that is here with him. There's just so much love. We're going to go to the messages from your angels, and we're just going to ask, what does JC need to know about Travis? And also, I see that you chose the obsidian crystal, and obsidian was all about wait, that it's not a time for forward movement just yet, but that you're biding your time, taking your time to see what happens, because there are things that are coming together that we just don't see yet. So the card that we chose from you, this is from the messages from your angels. We have Fiona, and her message is, now that you've asked the angels for help, be open to receiving divine guidance and assistance. You deserve heaven's help. So when this card comes up, it's often because we're trying to do a lot ourselves. We're trying to make things happen or to force things to happen. And part of what I'm seeing is, yes, like that there's universal heavenly creator help, that there's lots of help behind the scenes. But I'm also seeing help in the form of people around you, helping and supporting, somebody showing me that they're carrying something for you. And so I'm going to say that this is in part like taking off some of the burden that you may be feeling. So take a look and ask for that help and support. But going back to Travis, I'm feeling him really strongly with you and around you, and I feel like I could just reach out and touch him, so he feels really close. JC, it is always such a pleasure connecting with you and with Travis. Thank you. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support, and lots of angelic help and support as well. Awesome. Margaret, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. So Margaret says, what do I need to know about my job prospects and the best area to focus on in my search to help me narrow things down and connect with my best options? Okay, Margaret never asks the simple questions. It's always full on, full on. So let's see what we've got coming up for you. First of all, I'm being shown a keyboard and a computer, so it feels like the posting or the job that you're going to find is going to be online. It's been so long since I've looked for a job, but Indeed keeps popping into my head. I suspect that you're aware of places where jobs are posted and jobs are listed. What else do we have coming up? I'm hearing community. So I'm wanting to reach out into online community. It feels like part of what you're doing is looking at the types of job and the types of work that you're wanting to do, and you're finding communities that are dedicated to that. So for example, well, I'm just going to use like a spiritually based example. There are so many spiritually based groups on Facebook, and not all of them would allow you to post this. Like some of them have very specific purposes, but there have to be groups where people can go and say, hey, like I'm looking for information because I want to offer readings, or I have this really cool skill set that I think would be awesome for X, Y, and Z, and I would like to help people with A, B, and C. Can anybody point me in a direction, or does anybody need this kind of help? So it feels like although there is like a looking component, I'm also seeing you reaching out and connecting with community. Now, part of working within community is making sure that you are contributing as much as you are taking away from it. Because if you're going and you just take, then that energy, people are aware of that energy within the community. So make sure that there's something that you're bringing, that you're offering, that you're sharing, that you're contributing to the group as well. In terms of what was the next question, the best area to focus on in your search. I'm seeing something that feels like it is really creative. It feels like you're working in some form of supportive role. So whether that's writing or posting content, creating content, whether like there's imagery that's with it, it feels like this is a big part of what you're doing. I'm also seeing something that looks like analyzing some form of data. So possibly looking at patterns when things are happening, when things are working. It feels like there could be a little bit of a learning curve with this for you, but I'm seeing it being something that you're really able to do. The flip side of that, they're also showing me stuff that looks and feels like administrative work. So again, it could be that that's kind of the focus and there's a little bit extra of this other stuff on the side, but it feels like there are things that you're going to be learning and things that you're going to be positively challenged by. And yeah, it feels like that really helps to narrow things down and to connect with your best options. One of the other things that I would do, and I'm positive that this is something that you've already done, but as we are on the tail end of the new moon energy, write down the things that you want to experience in your next job. Are there things that you want to learn? Are there skills that you already have that you want to make sure that you're utilizing? Are there people or types of people that you're wanting to connect with or not wanting to connect with? So take, 15, 20 minutes to write out the things that you most want to feel and to experience in your new job, and then set that energy out. One thing that I find to be really helpful when it comes to any sort of releasing or manifesting is to set a timer on it, because especially with releasing, it's really easy to get caught up in like a cycle or a pattern. So give yourself a set amount of time and stick to that amount of time within reason, and make sure that you set the intention as well that everything that you need to put out there is you can access it in that amount of time. And as always, with any form of affirmation, make sure that you're sharing the energy, this or something better, because what we're aware of is like this, and what's actually a possibility is far greater than us. So what does Margaret need to know about career? A new dawn. I love this card for you. This is the mermaids and dolphins. The worst is now behind you, and positive new experiences are on the horizon. This is all about fresh starts, new beginnings. It's a wonderful energy to have coming forward in September, as well as with the new moon, and especially given that you're asking about new work and career opportunities. Margaret, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Miss Tamara, it's so good to see you. Hold on, I'm going to come right back to you. I just want to make sure that we don't have any Oh, we're doing really well. Holy smokes. I've got lots of people. Okay, awesome. Just wanted to make sure we didn't have any spammers because, that happens on my page. So, Tamara, so let's see. A love reading for John and I. He was my first boyfriend. Oh, and we've reconnected after 22 years, but it's long distance. He came out to Van for a weekend last week, wondering if there's any romantic future. Well, I miss you too. Okay, let's take a look. So part of what I'm getting is like we're kind of feeling things out. It feels like both of you are putting feelers out there. So I do see that as being really positive because it does feel like there's mutual interest and mutual attraction. When I connect with John, he shows me that there's stuff that he's packing up and putting away. So I'm going to say that there's probably still some stuff that he's working on and dealing with, and he may not be quite ready for a relationship just yet. You know what? You mentioned the distance. I'm actually not seeing that being as much of an issue as it feels like at the moment. So that tells me that one or both of you is in a position where if things are right, you're ready, willing, and able to make a move. And so it feels like if things progress, we'll get to that in a moment. Within 6 months to a year, it's no longer long distance, and it's not an issue. And I'm not exactly sure whose work and whose career and whose life is being picked up and moved into a new place, a new location. I suspect it is not you, though. So then that takes me back to what's happening between you and John. As I said, I'm feeling this like energy of checking things out, kind of like a little bit of a boom, like there's some excitement that's there, and that's feeling really good, feeling really positive. I keep seeing 6 months. So I'm going to say that this has enough longevity that you guys are figuring things out for the next 6 months. It feels like there are phone calls and conversations. Somebody is going to fall away kind of the end of October to the middle of November. I'm not sure if we have another Mercury retrograde. I haven't looked into it, but it almost feels like that kind of energy in that like one thing after the next, after the next, after the next just kind of explodes. Benefit of the doubt is going to be really important. And I suspect that it's John falling off and not you. So it's going to be important for you to make sure that you're maintaining yourself because it feels like that kind of activity and behavior can cause you to spiral. So make sure that you're breathing and you're not taking it personally because it really does feel like it's his stuff and he comes back and things do feel like they're stronger than ever. So take it as a pink flag, not because it's not a full-on, or pardon me, because it's not a full-on red flag. It's partly red flag for you based on previous experience, but like there's white flag on his part, making it pink. So I do see that there is the possibility and the opportunity, but you guys still feel like you're feeling each other out. So have fun and enjoy it. And enjoy the travel that feels like will come over the next several months for both of you because it feels like there's lots of opportunity in that. And part of what I'm hearing is that it's worth jumping in hesitantly, but feet first, because there's enough here to look into. Okay, so we're going to the mermaids and dolphins, and we're just going to ask, what does Tamara need to know about relationship with John? We have yes. Your intuition is correct. Take action accordingly. So, I mean, I don't think, short of pulling the soulmates card, I don't think that we could have gotten a better card for you for this question. This is definitely a relationship that's worth pursuing. It does feel like he's a good person. It feels like you guys do have chemistry. It feels like you do match with each other well. You do have a couple of hiccups, but in the grand scheme of things, if you can see them from a bigger perspective, they aren't as big as they seem. Miss Tam, it is always a pleasure connecting with you. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way, and lots of romance angels for you and John too. Kara, hello. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Kara says, there has been a lot going on in life lately. How do you see things going on with work and life? Am I on the right path? Okay, so first of all, Kara, I'm going to tell you that you have not been alone. Life has been insane and crazy and all over the place for many people. So know that you're not alone. And also, the positive thing is, as we get through kind of into the middle of September, things do start to calm down on an overall energetic level. So just like hold down the fort as much as you can. Going into your question, how are things going on with work and life? Are you on the right path? So I'm going to split this off. Work, yes, but it feels like there are some adjustments that are going to be coming up, and I'm hearing sooner rather than later. I do have October, November coming up as a time when it feels like there will be some adjustments with work. I do have kind of like this feeling of I just have to keep holding on. And so what I'm going to say is it feels like it may be a little bit bumpy or a little bit rocky, but you do come out on top. So whatever is coming up over the next couple of months, this is a really positive thing. It's helping to put you exactly where you need to be. And it feels like there's so much benefit that's coming out of the shift and changes that's coming up. The next couple of months, I'm going to call this the next 2.5 months, they do feel like they're really full on. So there's a lot that's happening. So as much as possible, make sure that you're taking downtime in day-to-day life, making sure that you're focusing on things that you enjoy doing, spending time with people that you enjoy, where there's the least amount of drama possible, because it feels like there is a lot of energy that's going to be going into work. And you're also going to want to make sure that you have those connections as you're navigating through it. When I ask about life, it's interesting because life actually feels like it's the more complicated of the two. And yet what I'm hearing is that life is really simple and life is really straightforward. It does feel like there's something that you're holding on to that you need to release and you need to let go. I'm reminded of the snake that's wrapped itself around the knife, and it wraps around tighter and tighter and tighter. And yet the is like, this is so gruesome, is cutting it, and the snake ends up dying. So make sure you're not holding on to something that isn't really not serving you, because once you come to terms with that and you start to either let it go or create boundary around how you interact with it, then things become a lot easier. It has a domino effect. This one primary thing has an impact on everything else in your personal life. And as I said, creating that healthy boundary or removing it altogether is a big part of what allows you to continue to move forward. I would be super curious, Kara, if you were to do your numerology based on your birthday this year, if you were in an 8-year, because it does feel like you've got a little extra challenge. I'll just quickly tell you how you would calculate it. So let's say that your birthday is today. Let's say it's September 3rd and 2024 is the year that we're in. So 2 + 2 + 4 for 2024 breaks down to an 8. 3 is 3 and September is 9. Let's say that instead of the 3rd, let's say it's the 12th, just because I can then show you. So let's say, September the 12th, 2024. 2024 is still an 8. September is still a 9, and 12 is 1 + 2 is 3. So you add 9 + 3 + 8. 8 and 9 is 17, and 3 is 20. So then the life path for today, for anybody whose birthday is today, is 2. I'd be really curious to see if your if your numerology for today, for your birthday this year, was an 8, because that would make a lot of sense to the difficulty. So I'm just asking for Kara for a card. And the message we have here is, you know what to do. This is Archangel Uriel. Trust your inner knowledge and act upon it without delay. So you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about, this thing that is creating a lot of challenge in other areas. That's the fulcrum point. That's the center point. Dealing and addressing with that is going to make everything else seem easier, because you don't have as many resources that are going to this other thing. You have more resources to deal with the day-to-day stresses that are expected. So take a look and see and follow your intuition, because you already know what to do. Kara, I'm so grateful that you joined us this evening. Thank you so much for hopping on. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. Andrea, it's so good to see you. Will things with finding a full-time job or speaking roles start coming? It's been several years of struggle, and I just need a break to be financially stable. Absolutely. So first of all, I'm seeing you having a talk with the angels and saying, hey, listen up. This is where I am. This is what's happening. I'm struggling. I can't keep doing this anymore. Show me that you have work. Show me that I'm on the right path. Show me that this is where I'm meant to be. And show me by starting to give me roles and by this, that, and the other thing, because it's not, I can't function in the physical world without these things. And if it's not this, then show me very clearly the next path and the next step that I'm to take. I do see it coming up. I do see it happening, but it's a matter of being really cut and dry and saying, hey, look, guys, like, I get it. You've been telling me this is what I need to do. So show me that this is where I'm meant to be. And if it's not, then show me where I need to go next, because I'm struggling and I'm done. When I ask, every time I ask about this for you, they keep showing me timelines and timeframes that are like 2-3 months down the road, because I'm getting November. We're sitting here at the beginning of September, rather, and November is just too far. So tell them that you need something for the middle of September at the very latest, and it needs to be something that's going to pay your bills and to keep you supported in order for you to continue going. And it feels like it's all about getting back into the flow, back into the swing. The other thing that's popping up for me is synchronicity. And I know that you have lots of experience with synchronicity. Synchronicity in this instance is helping to show you that you're on the right path, you're on the right track. So synchronicities appear when you are in that vibe, when you are in that flow. I'm going to step back a second. I know that Andrea knows what synchronicity is, but not everybody else does. So synchronicity is something that happens when there's something that happens outside of you that you have no control over, that speaks to something that you are currently experiencing. So for example, a synchronicity could be, I'm driving along, I'm having a really awful day, I'm listening to the radio, and my Everything Is Okay song comes on. I couldn't control it. I'm not the one who's deciding which songs are on the radio. It's the radio station that's deciding it. And when that song comes on, I know that everything's going to be okay. It's synchronistic that it comes on when I need to hear it. And so that's just one small example of synchronicity. And synchronicities, we notice them, that they're happening when we're in flow and when things are happening. So to move forward with this, make sure that you're actively paying attention to the synchronicities, to celebrating them and saying, hey, yeah, thanks. I'm glad that I'm on the right track. And I'm excited about you guys helping me to find the roles that I need to support myself. And I've got 3 roles that feel like they're coming up. So just keep breathing. It is coming. It is happening. And also potentially take a look into stories about stars who were in a similar place. Matt LeBlanc has just popped into my head. And like when he got Friends, he had, I think, $11 in his bank account, and his first paycheck, he went out and he bought dinner. So take a look at stories for actors who are in a similar place where they make their break, and allow that energy to inspire, and start reading or consuming the energy of actors and actresses that have gone from that and who are actively making it and are sustaining it. Invite that energy in, that energy of success and well-being. We're going to go to the mermaids and the dolphins, and we're just going to ask, what does Angie need to know moving forward about acting and her career? Empowerment, rising up, rising out. Oops. You're more powerful than you realize, and it's safe for you to be powerful. I love the imagery of this card. Oops, sorry, there we go. And it's all really dark and kind of gloomy. And yet here we have this beautiful mer angel, and she is surrounded in light. She is bright. She's vibrant. She's vibrating. And we've got lots of celebration from her little mer angel friends underneath her and all around. So even though things are feeling dark, she is bright. And I don't want to encourage you to like over positivitize the situation where you are. Recognize where you are, and that it's stressful and that there's struggle, and then shift into, but I've got faith. This is coming. It is always such a pleasure connecting with you. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support. And hold on, I have an affirmation for you right now as well. I am fully and completely supported as I co-create my life with the help of my angels, God, source, and creator. I am in universal flow. It is easy for me to make healthy and positive changes in my life now. This is one of the cards that I often send out with the writing when I do distance readings. So it is coming together, and see it as such. It's always a pleasure connecting with you. I will talk to you next time, Ange. Divya, hi, it's so good to see you. I'm so grateful that you popped on this evening. Oh, okay, let me just see. So I should have mentioned we're not doing mediumship, but what I will say is if your mom wants to come through in the course of other messages for you, I would be so happy to receive that message for you. And is there going to be any change in my career, job, finances, and moving to a new country? So I'm going to focus on that, and your mom, I'm sure, will come through. So career, job, finances, move. Everything feels like it's actually kind of hinging on the move. So the opportunity isn't as much where you are. The opportunities really show me that they're coming more to the forefront once you make a move. So that's where I'm going to put my energy. I'm seeing a couple of timelines, and actually something that feels like it's really close. I'm wanting to encourage you, if this isn't already in the works, to make plans to travel to the country that you want to move to within the next kind of 3 months. So say maybe around Christmas break, when people can often get time off work, it feels like it's important for you to spend some time there to ground your energy there. And it feels like we've got some more opportunities that follow after that. So 3 months is kind of the initial time frame. I'm going to call that December, January. And then beyond that, I've got 6 months, and I feel like we've got some more opportunities that are coming up kind of from June until September of 2025. So there is lots of opportunity. It feels like it's more a matter of kind of getting there, and everything just falls into place. In fact, the way that it's being shown to me are like two Lego pieces that are coming together. So there are lots of different pieces of the puzzle that just start to fit. I'm asking about finances because I realize that finances can be a significant part when it comes to making this kind of shift and change. I want to call this like a bursary, but I'm not exactly sure that that's what it is. I'm calling it a bursary because it feels like it's money that's coming to you. It's not money that you're working for, and it's not money that you have to pay back. So it's not a loan, and it's not like revenue or income, but it feels like it's like a lump sum that's coming to you, and you're able to start making different choices in your life that are helping to create a lot of the positive changes that you're wanting to see. That also includes making a pretty significant move and making significant changes in your life. And I just really quickly, I have your mom coming through, and she's showing me like she's clapping. So she's supporting you, she's encouraging you. And I see her stroking your hair and wanting to comfort you, to console you, to let you know that she's around, that she's watching over you, and she's helping and supporting you as you carry forward. We're just going to go to the mermaids and dolphins, and we're just going to ask, what messages does Divya need to know about moving forward in work and career? Dream big. I love this. Let go of small thoughts about yourself and see yourself succeeding. Again, this really kind of follows on the heels of the message that we had for clear quartz this evening, was set your sights higher, set your standards higher. What we believe is possible is this, but what is actually possible is limitless. And so the less that you focus on, I really want to do this thing, but I can't because of X, Y, and Z, the more that you blow out your dreams, that you snuff out that candle. So make sure that you're focusing on and concentrating on what it is that you want, taking active steps towards creating that, but also recognizing that you're not doing it on your own, that God, source, universe, angels, ascended masters, whatever your belief system is, that there's help that's happening from outside of you as well. And make sure that you allow yourself to receive that. And often it starts in really small little steps, in things that you don't realize are bigger steps because they seem small. But more often than not, when it comes to miracles, it's really difficult for us to believe that such a thing is possible on a large and grand scale. Because one, we haven't experienced it before. And two, it kind of seems a bit like a fairy tale. So focus on the small miracles, because that will help you to believe and will help you to build up to bigger changes and being supported through them. Divya, it's always such a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, and lots of manifestation energy your way as well. Awesome. Hi, Avril. It's so good to see you. I wish that you'd asked a specific question, because I don't think I'm going to get any lower to you. But hopefully when you connect next time, you'll ask something specific. I don't do any messages for me. I'm sorry, my friend. Carmen, it's great to see you. Carmen's asking, what do you see for my upcoming few months and what I should be focusing on and what distractions I should try to detach from? Okay, so work is the big thing that comes up for me. It feels like there is energy, focus, and momentum that you are putting into things that are important to you, things that are meaningful to you. I happen to know Carmen. I hope you don't mind that I spill the beans on this, but Carmen actually lives around the corner from me, and she is also one of my Reiki students as well. So I'm only a little bit biased when I say that maybe it's time to get your Reiki practice going, or start using that amazing space that you have. But it feels like that's where a big part of where your energy is going, is that you're putting energy into work. And now it's not necessarily all in like Reiki practice or other things. It does feel like there's some sort of balance that's coming up, but I've got some pretty big shifts that are coming through with work. I want to encourage you to see them as really positive shifts, because it feels like it's creating time and space for other opportunities to manifest in your life. It also feels like there's the potential for a bigger shift in work and moving out of the current structure that you're working in. I'm still seeing you within like the same organization that you're in, but it feels like there's a move from this to this. So it's a lateral move. And it feels like the people that you're working with are, I don't even know how to put it. I want to say that they're easier to work with. I don't know that that's actually what I'm meaning to say, but it feels like the circumstances are easier to work within, and that's part of what's creating opportunity and space for other things to come to the forefront. I'm also seeing something coming up around cards, around pulling cards. Like I'm seeing like affirmation cards. So I don't know if these are things that you're creating for yourself, if they're things that you're creating for other people, if they're things that you're doing for other people, but I feel like you're pulling some sort of affirmation or affirmation card. And I'm wanting to encourage you to do things like journaling and having like some form of journaling prompt. Again, it's something that you're like getting to do for yourself, or it's something that you're creating and sharing. But it does feel like there's a lot of call to kind of focus in on you, your family, and the things that you want. Anything that's kind of outside of that, I'm seeing you removing yourself from it and creating lots of boundary. Like, this isn't actually part of my reality. That's part of your reality. It's not part of mine. So yeah, it feels like there is a lot that you're detaching from, and you're actively focusing on the people, the circumstances, the situations that are in alignment with where you are and where you're wanting to go. We're going to the mermaids and dolphins again, and we're just going to ask, what does Carmen need to know moving forward over the next 6 months to promote peace, happiness, health, and well-being in her life on all levels? Explore your options. Whoops, is the card that we have here. So we have a little merchild. It's time to take a look at other possibilities, and it's a good time to make changes. This feels like this is an affirmation and a confirmation that yes, you are meant to be looking into other options, other opportunities, because it's not just one and done. There are lots of possibilities that are available to you, and take a look outside of what's right in front of you, because there's more. It's always such a pleasure connecting with you, Carmen. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. Patricia, hi, it's so good to see you. Patricia's asking, will my financial situation improve greatly anytime soon or upcoming in 2025? anytime soon. I get a little bit of flip-flop on that. I feel like we've got a little bit of up and down. So like if this is kind of what you're expecting, I feel like we're going kind of up and down around that. So I'm going to say that basically it's a wash with what you're expecting and where you've been over the next couple of months. As we start to move into November, December, January, February, so that 4-month time, it feels like things are on a gradual upswing. And a lot of this feels like it has to do with something that you're offering. So there's some sort of new creative thing that you're putting out or you're putting forward. There's something new that you are putting energy into. This initial energy feels like it's starting to go in kind of maybe more like middle of October, November, and into December. And it feels like we're starting to build up momentum. As we start to come into January, February, and March of 2025, it feels like you're definitely starting to pick up momentum. And you're also starting to see some of those seeds bear fruit. So what you're planting at the end of this year is already starting to come to fruition as we move into the beginning couple of months of 2025. As we move into May, June, July feels like that's a significant time. And then I'm seeing rest that comes July and August, and it feels like you're building up again back in September. So some of the things that I would encourage you to do is, one, either have a couple of things that you're planning on doing in July and August, and the rest, it's time off, time away. The other thing that I'm seeing is making sure that you're putting aside a little bit of money so that when it does come to July and August, it's not a really big slam. So make sure that you're kind of saving some of this additional that feels like it's coming in over the first 6 months or so of 2025. Finances do feel like they're improving, but they're improving because there are shifts and changes that you're making to your income, to your business, to how you do things. And that shift and that change feels like it's really, really important. So take a look at what's working in your practice and take a look at what's not. And look at how much energy is going into supporting the things that aren't working and redirect that into either a new project or more into the things that are working, or slightly diversifying the things that are working. But this really feels like this has to do with the changes that you're making as opposed to keeping what you're doing the same and there's more that's coming from it. Let's see, we're going to go to the mermaids and dolphins because they're all about manifestation and money and finances and creativity. And let's just see what they have coming up. So what does Patricia need to know about money and finances? It's time to move on. It's time to let go of the old and worn out so that new can come in. And literally that's exactly what we just talked about. So there are things that just aren't working, or maybe they used to work and they're just not working anymore. And whether that's because it's not working with the people that you're working with, there is an interest in it, or it's not working for you in the way that you're doing it anymore. Sometimes we can be doing things that are really successful on lots of levels, but it leaves us drained and exhausted. And so when it comes to looking at the things that aren't working, I'm not just talking about things that aren't financially feasible, but I'm talking about things that maybe aren't working for you, for your energy, or for what it is that you're wanting to be doing, where you're wanting to put your energy. But it's time to kind of look at what is working and what isn't working and how you want to carry forward the next couple of months. So like from now until say like the middle of October, the end of October is really that time for that prioritization and deciding where you're going to put your energy. And it feels like you're starting to make those shifts and changes as we move into the beginning of 2025. Patricia, I'm so incredibly grateful to have connected with you this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. Let me see. Debbie, we've got Debbie here, and Debbie's asking, what do I need to know about my career change? Okay, let's take a look. So first of all, there is a career change that feels like it's already in the works. What do you need to know about it? I'm feeling a little bit of sadness that's coming up, which is interesting because my overall feeling is actually one of excitement or one of relief, But there is also some sadness that's coming up too. And I want to encourage you to take time to honor and recognize the fact that there is some sadness that's coming up. It feels like there were connections that you made in your old career that you enjoyed, that there are changes that, although are exciting, are kind of a little bit frightening at the same time. But I feel like there are people or there's something that you're going to miss within this change. So take some time and allow yourself to feel that because that's all part of helping you to clear the slate moving forward. When I ask about the changes that are coming up, as I said, I feel like there's a sense of excitement because it feels like there's something new that you're going to be doing that is pushing you outside of your comfort zone, but it's pushing you in a really positive way because it's allowing you to explore, encouraging you to explore something that you haven't really done and you haven't really tried before. And I'm seeing you really enjoying it. Once you get over that initial hump of like the learning curve and all of the other pieces that come along with change, things start to get better. They start to feel better. You feel better. Everything feels like it starts to light up. So as you're going through this change, I don't have a lot of messages that are coming up for you around the change itself, but I'm wanting to focus on the things that you're doing outside of work. So I want to encourage you to make sure that you're getting outside to go for a walk with a friend if you can, or somebody that you enjoy having conversation with, where it's something that's positive and uplifting and supportive, as opposed to carrying on about the challenges of the day or the challenges in life. It feels like it's really important that you have things that are happening outside of work that are helping to pick your energy up as you're moving through this transition, because it helps to provide you with a bit of stability as you're transitioning. But I have a lot of excitement for whatever it is that's coming. And it's interesting because I'm having a hard time seeing what exactly it is that's coming. But it feels like, as I said, it's something that's pushing you outside of your comfort zone. It feels like it's probably something that you don't have a lot of experience in, or there's something about the environment that's different from what you're accustomed to. And it's bringing a lot of opportunity. And part of the opportunity feels like it has to do with the people that you're working with. So either those are like colleagues or employer, or people as like customers or clients that you're working with that you really enjoy, and it feels really good. So the change is good. It's got a bit of a learning curve. Let's just take a look. What do we need to know for Deborah? And the message we have coming up, or pardon me, Debbie, is Archangel Raziel, and his message is clairvoyance. So first of all, clairvoyance is one of the 4 primary ways that we receive intuitive messages and information. It literally means clear seeing or clear sight, and it has to do with visual cues and visual messages. So this can be visions that we see in our mind's eye. Sometimes people describe this as like a movie screen, a theater screen, and images that are on it. Sometimes it's kind of outside. Sometimes it's something we're catching in the periphery of our eye, so it looks like it's external from us. Other times it's things like seeing repeated numbers. So anything that you're seeing that speaks to you, that has a message to you, that is visual, is an example of clairvoyance. Raziel's message is, I am helping you with your spiritual sight to awaken you fully so you can clearly see heavenly love. So what I would say to the question that you've asked is to allow yourself to look around and to see what options, what opportunities are available to you in this shift and in this change, because it's not always straightforward, but there is always something that is better than the other options that will stick out for you. Debbie, I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined us this evening. Thank you so much for popping on. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love, and support your way. Nikki, hello. It's so good to see you. Nikki has joined us from YouTube, and I'm so sorry that it's taken this long because I see that you put in your message about 40 minutes ago. So hi, Nikki. I'm so glad you joined us on YouTube. Okay, we have good vibes here. Hi, good vibes. A person from my past, just a connection, came back into my life, but lives a bit far. This time things have heated up and validated what we felt decades ago. Do you see any chance for, even if not right now, because the timing is not right, but in the future? The connection was huge and still feels that way decades later. Okay, so let me just make sure that I have this right. This is how I'm reading it, is you have reconnected with somebody from your past. At the time, time there wasn't a romantic connection, but now this person's come back into your life several decades later. There's still some energy, there's some energy, there's some interest, but the timing isn't right now. This is how I'm reading it, and this is how I'm going to tap in and see what we have going on. I have a little bit of heartache that's coming up. This feels like this might be something that's present and isn't necessarily connected to like the ending of a romantic partnership, but I feel like we've got some heartache that's coming up on one or both sides here. So when you talk about the timing not being right, it feels like the timing might not be completely right for both of you. It's not just one or the other. When I ask for more information, I'm seeing like reaching out a hand. So it's almost like you're walking along and like one person reaches out a hand and the other person holds it. It feels really light and lovely and playful. And it kind of reminds me of the beginnings of teenage romance where things still feel really innocent. And so there is a sense of really solid companionship is what I have coming to the forefront. So one of the things that I really appreciate about this is it feels like the foundation of friendship either already exists or is something that you guys can build and flesh out, even while the timing isn't completely right. I'm wanting to fast forward, and it's so funny because the way that I'm seeing it is like a rock skipping across the water, and you know how it's like boom, 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 and then boom, 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 boom. That's exactly how I'm seeing it. So it feels like initially there might be some time and space between the connections that you make with each other, and then things start to speed up and you're spending more and more and more time. I'm seeing kind of like a 6, 8, 10 month timeline. I'm just going to be really conservative with this, and I'm going to say that we're moving into like the late summer of 2025 before things feel like both of you are in a place where you can invest energy on a relationship level or romantic relationship level rather than strictly companionship. But it does feel like there is opportunity, there is possibility here. One of the things that really helps it is, as I said, it feels like neither of you are quite ready for a relationship. And that's part of what helps this to work in the long run. Because if one of you was ready right now, it feels like you would kind of miss each other, because one who's ready right now, I don't want to encourage them to wait. But since that doesn't feel like that's the case, it actually feels like there's more opportunity because you guys are closer to being in alignment with each other. So I do have a lot of excitement that's coming up around that, but really, really, really want to emphasize focusing on something that feels platonic and is really innocent and playful, and really focusing on the companionship aspect of this is somebody I really enjoy, and I really enjoy spending time with them, and I want to be able to spend more time with them in the future. We're going to go. I've really been enjoying the messages from the mermaids and dolphins. So we're just going to ask, what does Good Vibes need to know about this potential relationship? Here we go. Explore your options. Interesting. So we had this card a little bit earlier. The message here is it's time to look at other possibilities, and it's a good time to make changes. So this isn't the card that I necessarily would have pulled for the message. So let me just tap in and see what we have coming up. I mean, actually, it feels like you guys are the other option. Yeah, you guys in this friendship, in this relationship and connection, you are the other option to either what is currently existing or to where you would normally and typically look. So there's something that's outside of the usual, and it could even be that both of you are taking time to get to know each other again as adults, as friends, to see what comes to the forefront without saying, hey, like either this is going to be a relationship or it's going to be nothing. It's either romance or nothing, which is something that I do often see and may have been guilty of in the past myself. So there is definitely possibility and opportunity, and 100% there is companionship at a friendship level that feels like it can grow into something more. Good Vibes. I'm so incredibly grateful that you graced us with your good vibe presence. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Nikki, it's from YouTube. Hello. So Nikki's asking, do you see my son moving to Calgary? And if so, will this be soon? Let's take a look and see what we've got coming up. So I do see your son moving to Calgary. What I'm hearing is sooner rather than later. This feels like within the next 3 months, within the next 6 months. 3 months, 6 months. I'm having a really hard time gauging when exactly this is. It feels like it's going to be at least 3 months. So it's not something he's not picking up and he's not moving right away. So I do have 3 months. When I ask about 6 months, it feels like that could be it. I don't think it's much further out than that. So 6 months from now, I think we kind of decided was February, March. At the latest, that feels like that's when he would be going. Or if he hasn't moved at that point, he's got the plans are in the works and he's ready. He's packing his stuff. He's on the plane. He knows where he's going. So yeah, it feels like it's relatively soon. Soon is kind of one of those things, like is soon tomorrow or is soon 2 years from now. So that's what I'm going to say is within the next 3 to 6 months, it feels like there's a move that he's making and it feels like it's really positive. He's showing me that he finds his people there. It feels like he finds work there that he really enjoys. And he's showing me that he's able to start doing things that he's wanted to do for a long time. So that feels really, really exciting. I'm not sure if travel is something that he's been wanting to do, but it feels like there's an opportunity for home base in Calgary and to travel from. So I just asked what message we have for you, and we have Archangel Ariel, and her message is courage. Be courageous and stand up for your beliefs. But also courage comes through when it comes to making big changes or allowing our loved ones to make big changes too. Archangel Ariel, I love her energy. She's a lot like Archangel Michael in that she has a really big energy. She helps and supports us with things like life purpose and the direction that we should go on and which way we should choose. But she's also got kind of a sassy energy. And if angels had ego, they don't, but if they did, Archangel Ariel would be like the girlfriend who has your back. You call her up and say, hey, I've got a dead body in my trunk. And she says, great, I know where to take it. And I've got the shovels. Like Archangel Ariel will always have your back and she helps you and supports you. So know that this is not only confirmation that the path that your son is taking is in his best and highest good, but also that you're being helped and supported as you watch him make some pretty big changes too. Nikki, it's always such a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for popping on this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. Awesome. We've got Teresa here. Hi, Teresa. Thanks for joining us. Teresa says, big changes coming for sure, but when should I take the leap? Wow. What I'm hearing is now, but that feels like that's not quite right. But I do see sooner rather than later. So part of what I'm seeing is that the big change that you're making, there's something that you're needing to wrap up first. And the sense that I have is that you're needing to pull people in, you're needing to create some support systems, and you're needing to get that set up and running. And that's kind of a priority so that you can feel good about the changes that you're making. Is it necessary? Probably not, but is it something that you're going to do because you are you? Most likely, which is awesome. So the soonest that feels like that can happen, again, I've got kind of 3-4 months. So it feels like you're in the process of change over the next couple of months. Ooh, and then I feel you hitting the ground running as we move into January and February. Now, all that said, as soon as I get like right up to launch time, I'm starting to feel some pretty big anxiety that's coming up. And I'm wanting to talk to you about like security blankets, security nets, making sure that you have everything that you need to support yourself moving forward. So having a really solid plan feels like that's going to be significant. And I'm also seeing you having some backup plans as well. But it feels like you're ready. You're ready now in so many ways. And yet there are things that you're doing on, I'm going to call it like a logistical level to get things done so that you're really up and running and ready and feeling good about taking those steps forward. So sooner rather than later. And it feels like probably at the latest, January, February of 2025. And then they just flashed in September of 2025. There are lots of opportunities for when you can do this. And I suspect that you will do it in a way that has lots of different stages to it. And again, this feels like this is a preparation thing. So the first big step, big step, feels like it's in January, February of 2025. And there are another series of steps that you're taking over the following 9 months. Okay, what message do we have for Teresa around big changes? Consult an expert. So more information is needed. Contact someone with expertise in this field. And that feels like that makes a lot of sense, because it's going to be helpful for you in terms of how do I make sure that I have all of my ducks in a row to make sure that I can do this in a way that feels best and right for me, that supports the part of me that needs to have stability and security, to make sure that I'm honoring all of the obligations or the responsibilities that I've taken on, while at the same time being able to move forward in a way that is supportive and successful on all levels. So I would strongly encourage you to talk to somebody who is has already gone through some of the changes that you're thinking about making, remembering that not everybody's experience is going to be the same, either because of like timing, because of support and resources that one or both of you have or don't have, because of like the time that we're in, the circumstances, situations. Like, nobody's experience is going to be the same, but it feels like it is definitely really helpful to consult with somebody who has experience in making the change that you're looking at, because that helps to calm your mind. Awesome. It's always such a pleasure connecting with you, Teresa. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. All right, we have Tanis here. Hi, Tanis. Thanks for joining us. Tanis wants to know, what should I do about my work situation? So part of what I'm seeing is, for the next little while, you're putting your head down. So I'm seeing you not actively getting involved, not actively engaging with the things that are happening, that are going on around you. Because when I ask about your work situation, it feels like things might be feeling a little bit chaotic, a little up and down. And rather than jumping in either with a solution or with trying to fix things or trying to diffuse things, whatever the case may be, I'm seeing you keeping your head down, keeping your nose clean, and kind of observing before you step in and you make a choice or you make a change. It feels like there is a certain amount of instability, but that there are changes that are happening underneath the surface, which is causing that instability overall. It's kind of like a great big huge whale that's moving underneath. When you look at the surface of the water, you're like, I can't see anything, but the whale is big enough that it's creating some ripples on top of the water. And that feels like that's part of what's happening. You can see and experience the ripples on the top of the water, but you're not aware of the whale that's making movement down under the water. In terms of, what was your specific question? What should you do about your work situation? Wait it out. Keep an eye out for other options and other opportunities, but it feels like there are some changes that are in the works that are going to make the work situation a lot better. It feels like this is happening over like the next 6 weeks to the next 2 months. So like, call it the middle to the end of October. And then things feel like they start to smooth out. Things start to become easier, though busier. And there's less time for part of what feels like the drama or the uncertainty that I'm feeling coming up around you in your work situation. The other thing that I'm seeing for you is, it does feel like things improve, period. But I'm also seeing other external options and opportunities that are coming up for you over the next 4 months, 6 months, 8 months. And I want to encourage you to keep an eye out for these other options and the other opportunities, because this feels like this is taking you up and it's heading you in a direction that feels more in alignment with who you are, with what you're wanting to do, and how you're wanting to support yourself. Let's see, Tanis, we're going again to the mermaids and dolphins, and we're just going to ask, what does Tanis need to know about her work situation right now? Accept heaven's help. So the message here, you've prayed for help, so get out of the way and let heaven help you. When this card comes up, it really says that you're in a place, in a position where you've been asking for help, you've been asking for support, and heaven, God, source, universe, whatever your belief system is trying to provide that help to you. And again, like, I see this as really kind of keeping your head down, because there is a lot that's changing. There's a lot that's going on, but the less that you interact and engage with it, the better it is, not only for you from like a mental, emotional point of view, but also in terms of the longevity that you have, the options that you have within the organization and the structure that you're in, and based on the other options and the opportunities that are coming up for you in the next 2 to 4 to 6 months. So keep your head down, know that you aren't alone and that you are being helped. Tanis, this was such a pleasure connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. You guys, I am so incredibly grateful that you joined me this evening. It's always a pleasure connecting with you, and I'm grateful for the time that you took out of your day. I am so sorry that we missed so many people this evening. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I so appreciate that you're here. My hope and my intention is to be on more consistently over the next little while. As I said, I will be on News for the Soul next Tuesday, which is September the 10th at 2 p.m. Pacific, which is 5 p.m. Eastern time. I'm 99% positive that I won't be taking calls on the first show, but certainly on the show in October. And as I said, I'm planning on being back here for Intention with Connection in the following Tuesday. So keep an eye out on Facebook and YouTube for the posts and the announcements of that. And of course, if you have a dying, desperate question that you absolutely cannot wait for, you're always welcome to reach out and to connect with me for your own personal and private reading. I'm connecting with people via phone, Skype, and Zoom right now, and you can find all of my appointments and availabilities on my website, bookingwitherin.com. And if you want to find out more about me, you can head over to heavenlymessenger.com. That's HeavenlyMessenger.com. I'm so incredibly grateful that you joined me this evening. I'm sending big hugs, lots of love and support your way. And remember to be easy with yourself.